Yo, what's up, everyone? How y'all doing today? Guys, how long has this been muted the whole time? Maybe I gotta start the stream over. Man, I was cooking too, guys. Let's cook some sauce for you guys. Oh man. Alright. Let's try this again. Let's start over. Okay. Bull Runner, good to see you. Hungry Queens, welcome in. J Rock, what's going on? Chili, good to see you. Dutchy, how's it going, brother? Curtis Hill, good to see you. Smashy, what's up, my friend? Brave Dave, what's going on? Andrew Cameron. I appreciate all you guys telling me my mic wasn't on. All right. So let's look at what I was looking at, right? So what do we know happened yesterday, right? There was a daily structure break yesterday, right? So daily structure did flip bearish. We were looking at this level, right? The range deviation level on the daily, right? We did get a small bounce from there, right? We'll see how the daily closes. Going in on structure, right? If we look at our larger time frames, right? If we look at like our 4 hour, our break of structure still up here. If we look at like our 6 hour, same break of structure still up here, right? So Bitcoin still has a lot of work to do, right? But locally, we did get our first little signs of hope, right? So we like that we bounced from this level. We like that we put in a low. Okay, so now I can talk about what I was talking about here, right? So what were we talking about on the stream last night? I think we were right here when we went on live on the stream. We were talking about how if this is going to be, if there's any hope of longing this as some sort of bottom, the current market structure high was up here, right? Which we talked about how if you come up and break that, you have way too big of a stop loss, right, for it to make sense. So likely what the market tends to do in those circumstances is sweep the low, put in like a failed break lower, then break structure up. Right? What we call a little JPOW pattern too, right? And this looks like it could be the start of a little accumulation model. That or it could be an accumulation model completing. This would be like your smaller, like on your 5 minute. Yeah, you swept all the liquidity in the lower high. Kind of retested the order block. Either way, you'd be looking for mitigation at this point, right? Looking for mitigation is just a question of is it going to be like down here, maybe down here. Or are we just gonna, or is this like, oh, bear with me. Or is this like the jump across the creek and then we're just gonna get a test and go, right? But also this could just fail, right? We have to operate under the assumption that this is going to fail until we get a significant higher time frame market structure break, right? Now, if you start closing some daily candles up in here, right? If we start running tomorrow, then this looks more like an SFP. Generally, if you want to take the SFP trade, since we bounced right off of here, right? If you have the RR there, you can take that as a swing trade. It's a different strategy, right? That's just going off of range deviations. Let's see. Let's see it. So it's like a 3 RR right now. But obviously we can wait for confirmations as well, right? We can wait for breaks on higher time frames, or we can scalp this on the 15-minute, right? We can wait for a better RR, or maybe you already took the trade on the break of structure, stop below the strong low, right? The good news is we should know tomorrow, right, if we're going to reclaim the range or not, which would set up for like trading into Thursday and Friday. Generally though, if this is going to be a Wyckoff model on a smaller time frame, you get the break of structure, then you would expect, right, either model 2 or model 1, right? If we're going to get like a smaller accumulation model. And we can just draw in like our golden pocket from after. If you'll notice, we bounced from the golden pocket of this one earlier today, right? And now we would just draw our bigger golden pocket, which is likely just a retest of the same area, right? So stop out all the liquidity under here could kind of make sense. Retest this order block on like a smaller time frame, right? So we do have this order block here. Right, that would sweep all the liquidity in this low, come back for the breaker block, and then we could go. We could also SFP this, right? And if you SFP this, but you hold above the next day, you can take the same range deviation trade that day. So we are under bullish 15-minute market structure. We did do a nice sweep of the lows. But I still want Bitcoin to prove itself, right? Because what looks most likely right now? Well, Bitcoin's probably just going to follow the same mitigation pathway on the 15 minute, right? So, or I mean on the higher term time frames, right? Until we get a market structure shift. Which, I mean, you could come all the way up here to put in a lower high and still not flip your 4 hour. That's what I don't like about this, which makes me think it would honestly be better if this Wyckoff model completes with a sweep of the low. Because then you break 4 hour market structure here as opposed to way up here. But either way, you should be operating under the assumption that it's guilty until proven innocent, right? Until we get a large time frame, like 4 or 6 hour market structure break. This is bearish, right? We had our news break of structure, and it just completely failed. This is like a strong move down, right? Short squeeze, sell it off. So, any scalps that you guys should be taking on the long side, you would just want to take with market structure confirmation. Right? You had a little bit of a earlier confirmation, I believe, on like the 3 minute. There was a JPEL down here. Yeah. So you had a 3 minute SFP break of structure here that you could have got long off. And after your structure breaks, you kind of melt up for the rest of the day. Just want to see the proof, right? You want to see mitigation go. Let's see what Market Cipher looks like here. Man, yeah, we need to reclaim the range on the daily. This could get ugly. So, where is that golden pocket we were looking at? Yeah, I mean, look at that. So if Bitcoin comes back and sweeps the low, it would sweep into the golden pocket and then reclaim, break 4 hour structure. That would look a lot better to come up. Moral of the story, there's still a lot of work to do. As nice as this looks, zooming in is a privilege. We know the daily is bearish, the 4 hour and the 6 hour are bearish. We should be favoring shorts until proven otherwise. Close a daily candle below this low. We're probably coming down to those lower levels of like 103-ish. 103, 105-ish. You holding this on the daily is kind of your last hope for if this range is going to hold or if we need to go in a deeper correction. Cool beans. So what's a watch now, right? So we put in some new 15-minute structure here. So this is your valid 15-minute low for now. As long as this holds, we can assume that this is going to continue just slowly up, right? Now, if we do something like put in another low here, come up, break structure out of there, you can get short here, stop loss here, targeting the bottom of the range. And obviously, like the better RR, or the higher RR, the better, right? I mean, if you get something like that, it's way better. But this just looks like mitigation for now. Let's see where we're at. Golden pocket. Yeah. If you're going to get long, I would wait for a mitigation down here. And if you're going to get short, I would wait for an interaction up here. Or just a break of this low. But some sort of market structure shift back bearish on the 15-minute. Right? Because whenever you are market structure trading, right, you have your large time frame, which in this case is going to be our daily. Then we have our midterm time frame, which will be like our 4 hour. And right now, the daily is bearish. The 4 hour is bearish. The 15-minute is bullish. Right? So if you want to get into this downtrend, you'd be waiting for your entry time frame to match up with your bias time frames. And then you would take the short back down to the lows. Until 4 hour structure shifts, that's how you should be viewing the market. yes, this could be a fake out, but we need to get a daily close back up in the range before we say that, right? This deviation needs to hold, and we get a daily close up here. You can front run that if your risk to reward is there. It's like a 3-to-1 right now. Let's see what the risk to reward is at the close. But yeah, we need to reclaim the range. Otherwise, when this 15-minute flips bearish, you would just be looking to build shorts again. And where are those levels? So again, you'd set alerts, right? So right now, the 4-hour break of structure bullish is back up here. Let's look at our downtrending momentum here. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of confluence in that area. Luna. So you'd want to wait for a bearish market structure shift here, but this would be the basic setup for the short, right? You come up in here, break some market structure, take the trade down to sweep it low. Otherwise, if the market structure stays bullish, or if we come down into the range and flip structure bullish on like your 5-minute, you can get long targeting liquidity up here. Guilty until proven innocent, guys. That's what I see on Bitcoin. Let's look at Ethereum here. Okay, yeah, so we had our golden pocket 786 here with the spider line. Yeah, this is okay, so this is the TA from the stream last night, right? So I think we were like here when we were live last night. What were we talking about on ETH, right? We were talking about how the structure high was up here, and if it was going to reverse, they will rarely give you a high, that high, right? Because it doesn't make sense for risk and reward. So what did we want to see happen? Sweep down, break structure, and go. Right? Start seeing this in your mind, right? Start understanding where our valid highs and lows are and say, what would the market need to do to convince me that it's bullish and that it's going to go back up, right? Plan that out, and then you can hop into the trade, right? Then you have your stop behind a strong low, and the price is just slowly drifting up, right? Now, we have our supply here, or that's already kind of been mitigated. But this, yeah, so we have our golden pocket here, obvious resistance level around 47.30. Let's look at where market structure is. So you break your 4-hour bearish here, so you're hitting a little bit of resistance here, you're hitting a little supply block. Ooh, now they did give you a market structure high here on ETH. So if ETH is gonna put in a new low, this would be where you would reject from. If we take move of the yeah, it's a 786 rejection right now, looking to find support on the golden pocket. So the important level to watch, or let's change this to stream supply. Important level to watch on ETH is going to be this level here at 46.91. Since you broke 4-hour market structure bearish here, closing above here on the 4-hour would flip it back bullish, which would line up with your daily now being bullish, and you could look to push ETH back up. So set your alert. Let's see. Set your alert there for the market structure flipping bullish. Now, where would we look to get in on the trend? We'd look to get in on the mitigation here. it will obviously be safer to long ETH after you get a 4-hour market structure shift, right? Another play would be if you're betting on more continued down, right? We're kind of putting in some structure here. If we sweep this high, break the low here, out of supply, you can short it here, stop loss here, target the lows. I would take a lot off here though. Take some off here. But you can set up the short as well if this level doesn't break, or if they SFP this, then break some structure. But right now this looks like it's just squeezing all the short liquidity in here. Whether there's actually enough juice to continue going up, you have to wait for 4-hour structure to tell you that. Or you can just ride the wave down or look to get long again on mitigation. Did anyone get long off of the idea from the stream last night? On any of the coins that we looked at? Put a 1 in the chat if you got long last night. Just curious. Nice, Chili. Oh, yeah. Okay, so ETH looks a little bit better than Bitcoin, right? Because it has broken structure. Bullishly on the daily again, right? It's not really too... Remember, this was kind of in the weeds, right? Depends on how you look at it, but with the 4 hours... Yeah, we would just wait for this high to break. Goes until proven innocent until the high breaks, but I would understand. If you want to take a long, I would look for the mitigation long to ride it back up. It's perfect golden pocket, spider line, 786 bounce. Let's look at some. Yeah, this is going to be, so be careful of an SFP into this area on the 4-hour. So notice how this is the bottom wick of the previous day, right? That daily order block. So that's confluent with your golden pocket. If you are long, I would take some profit at 47.10. That sweeps the liquidity of the 4-hour high put in here. Hits that order block. And it's also the golden pocket. So I'd be careful about that. Like 47.12. Now, likely, if it closes up here and bounces off, it's likely just going to be mitigation for a higher high. If it SFPs, be careful. Look out below, right? Until it closes above. But that's just structure, yeah. I mean, you could try to ride the wave on ETH, right? If you're just scalping it up, you could scalp up with market structure. But at this point, it gets a little risky, right? The risk to reward's not the highest, right? You could wait for structure to break, and then you could short it down, or you could just wait for a pullback. Or wait for the 4-hour to break, and then pull back, and then go. All right. And if there's any altcoins you guys want to look at, you can throw them in the chat. If you have any questions about Bitcoin and ETH, we can go over them. Man, you guys can see how decision demand provides support, right? So we kind of had this Bart Simpson out of the news event, right back to our GP786 box, right to our decision demand that's untapped. Then you notice how you don't have to just set it and forget it, right? You can then zoom in and use market structure to get long, stop loss below the low, and you're chilling for the day, right? You can see how all these concepts come together. Getting a trend ribbon flip, that's good. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the mitigation, really. We'll see what we get. If Bitcoin closes the daily with the range deviation, it's possible tomorrow we could run. But I would prefer to see a sweep at the low tomorrow and then go, but we could just run off that range deviation, we'll see. Or we can just continue down and 4-hour never breaks. That too. Yeah. All right, let's take a look. Oh, what's that? We didn't quite come down where we wanted to. This area is still valid on XLM. This is that 33 cents level. Still want to see that. Let's get it out of here for now so I can zoom in. Let's move this over here. Okay. Let's look at our daily. So you SFP your daily high, break your daily bearish here, SFP the high here. So you're still under bearish 4-hour structure on XLM. So be very careful. Or I'm sorry, daily structure. You're still on bearish daily structure. You SFP the high, came back down to the order block. This is all internal structure. You SFP'd the low. So you flip your 4-hour back bullish here and then you pull the low. So that means that your 4-hour market structure flip is up here. Let's zoom in a little bit. So you just broke 15-minute. So you could look for like a golden pocket retracement kind of down here in the GP786 area. The problem is this is not really that much of a convincing break of market structure. It kind of looks like an SFP reclaim of the range bearishly. Kind of just a retest of previous lows here. Now, what would make me a little more concerned, right, would be if we come up, sweep this high, then break market structure. You could short that, stop above here to sweep the range again. All the liquidity in these lows. But so far, there's nothing really concerning on 15-minute market structure because your strong lows down here. Yeah, so really, on XLM, what I'll say is I really still like 33 cents a lot. I still like that level. If we can come above 43 cents, then I'm convinced maybe we don't have to come down here. But until we flip 4-hour market structure, my bet would be on coming down here. You can still scalp things locally, right? Like you can still take the golden pocket trade off of this 15-minute. And still take that, try to come up to that 4-hour high if you're bullish. If you're bearish, I would just wait. Now that we have 15-minute structure, understand that if we come above this high now and then break wherever low this ends up, that would give you a flip if you're trying to short it down to making a new low. Let's go to the 4-hour and see if we have some supply here anywhere. That's already been tested. So previous lows. That's already been tested. Yeah, I mean, so a bounce up into like here. Let's see, where's the downtrending momentum? Yeah, I would keep an eye on it. All right, Darren. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. All right, what's next? CRV? Yeah, we can look at CRV. CRV rejected from supplies, coming down. We do have support down here, but we also looks like not quite mitigated that. We also have the order block in here. Break your 4-hour bearish, and now you're rejecting from previous lows. Let's look at our 1 hour. Yeah, little rejection from supply here on the 1 hour. Not quite, right? You could sweep up one more time before coming down. Yeah, this kind of looks the same as the other things we've been looking at, right? So you flip your 15-minute bullish here, go up, you'd be looking for mitigation. Understanding that you're in a 4-hour downtrend, right? So this would be a counter trend long, right? But if you're looking for a long on this, the first place I would look is at mitigation in the decision block. And you'd want to look for a structure break in there, right? So like you want to look at like a 5-minute structure break, because you could run this low, right? And why is running this low interesting, right? Because then you actually flip some structure, right? Because you put in a high here, you sweep the low, you break that. Now you've got a 4-hour break of structure where you can put a strong low here. So I like the SFP play on the entire market, right? I like it on Bitcoin down to these altcoins as well. It would put a nice high in on the 4-hour for us to break. And just like Bitcoin, everything else in the market is guilty until proven innocent, right? So keep that in mind. These are just trades based on the 15-minute market structure, scalp trades. So yeah, if you come down here, mitigate, break some structure, look to long it, back up to liquidity. Or alternatively, right, if we SFP this high, come back down, break the low, you can take that short down to a new low as well. This untapped demand. Juicy levels below us. So an SFP into 756 is interesting, and then also a retest down here around 64. These would be the two levels on the long that would most interest me. 756 to 646. And where's your relevant market structure breaks? Well, your 4-hour break for right now is up here. If we put in a new low, that will change, but you need to flip 4-hour market structure. You need to come above 94 cents. See, look at how fast this happens when you lose momentum. You lose momentum, just drop. Okay, let's see what we can see here. Sheesh. Oh, that looks better. There's the history. Okay, so we've come down. Let's see. Break our daily market structure bullish here. Come down, pull the low. Come back up to supply. Let's look at our 4-hour. Yeah, everything pretty much looks the same, so I would just watch which path ETH or Bitcoin is going to take, and that's probably what's going to follow here. So this is where your 4-hour break of structure is on near. It swept the low as well. It's interesting that these altcoins have a little bit more bullish of a sweep than Bitcoin. We'll see if that leads to anything. You pulled your 15-minute here. Mitigated coming up. Man, that looks good on Market Cipher. You're likely going to hit your head on resistance here between like the 0.5 and the golden pocket. I'd be interested in a mitigation trade somewhere in here. Obviously, the further down is better for risk to reward. Also like the SFP, right? For the same reason, it brings this 4-hour low down to like say here, right? Making more actionable structure on the 4-hour. I would just be looking for the same things as the other coins, right? Either sweep the high, break, short it down to a new low, or we can look at the mitigation longs, golden pocket, 786 area, or a 4-hour market structure break. To me, the most attractive trade out there right now is an SFP of the local lows on all the coins. That or a mitigation play. Otherwise, you should be favoring continuation shorts. But those are the two longs that look most interesting to me. I want to see a structure proof before taking big swings on coins. All right, the last note I leave you guys with is that watch the daily close on Bitcoin. If we get a range deviation here, it's possible that we can run the range back up. Otherwise, just keep an eye on your 4-hour structure. Look for an SFP trade. And you guys know the levels below us, right? Next stop would be roughly like the 105 area and then the 103 area. This, as I went over on the show yesterday, I would love to come to 103 for a long. All right, guys. Well, as always, my name is Market Cipher. Much love, guys. Trade safe. Market Cipher out. You guys have a good one.